morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Back after our holiday break. Good to be back in action. Paul Verderosa, Jonathan Kitchen alongside. Welcome back.
Good. How are you? Everything good?
Good. Holiday was good. Yours
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I was chilling. I ate a lot, so hopefully I don't look too. I look all right.
You want to make sure the camera doesn't add 10
Yeah,
pounds,
yeah.
right? So you,
That's what they say. We'll see.
yeah, I feel you on that one, man. Italian holidays. I just did a lot of eating, and it's time to do a lot of walking. Time to do a lot of wagering, get back into action today. It's good that we are back. You know, there's some scratches today that kind of affected some of the earlier races, some short fields, but it happens sometimes when you do take the entries a little bit early on and you have some time before we get back to racing. But we do have a good stakes race on tap today, and, well, I think you can all check it out. Start by betting with Naira Bets, of course, and that's the only way to do it. That man is smiling right there. Flavian Pratt set the stakes record, graded stakes record yesterday out at Santa Anita. I know that makes Maggie Wolfendale very happy. She wanted to see Bailey go down with that. So that's a $200 deposit match sign-up bonus at Naira Bets. Use that promo code BONUS200. Get in on all of the action, and while you are milling around on the site, you can check out the track stats as well. Matthew Santos does a great job there. Can always find out all the information you need with the track trends and statistics and all those betting insights over at NairaBets.com. And also, while you're there and wagering today, some free money on the line. You always want to get in on this and opt in there. It's easy to do. $3,000 hit and split late pick 3 at Aqueduct and or Oak Lawn Park. So good free money there. You always want to be involved in that. Do that over at NairaBets.com. Very easy to do. And I think we also have a cross-country pick 5 going on today. Getting 305 today, race number 7 and 8 here at Aqueduct with the Bay Ridge Stakes included. Then races 5, 6, and 7 over at Oak Lawn Park, so get involved in that. And you can watch all of the action today on America's Day at the Races, starting 3 p.m. over on FS2. Lafitte and you, I think.
Yeah, we're
today
getting,
on there.
That's I haven't seen Lafitte in a while.
Yeah.
So he took the red eye in last night. His father was honored by having the stakes race at Santa Anita yesterday named for him. So Lafitte hit the red eye. He's probably working furiously right now at the hotel, and we'll see him in a few hours.
All right, good stuff. Mig will be out there as well reporting. So early races today. First 2 races, scratches kind of hit them a little bit hard. You can take out the 2. She's fascinating. Also take out the 5, Stone Cold Kelly in here. So it leaves us with a field of 4, and you're going to go to the Brad Cox second-time starter.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's just this horse ran well first time out. It's Brad Cox. You'd like to think there'll be another improvement here. It's a Juddmonte homebred, but also a couple of weeks time runs together during this time of the year. But Moto came back and won at Oak Lawn Park pretty impressively, exits that same race as Katana, and I just felt like that was the one you wanted. I saw where you went with the 6 Mega Mill, and I still could change my mind. If they get crazy and start betting the 4 like the 4 can't lose, I do think there's some value on the 6, but I do believe the 4 is the horse to beat.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I liked about the 4, when the field was intact, I kind of liked the 4 a little bit less than I do now. I was thinking today there'll be a little bit more speed, too, coming out of the 4. They got off a little bit slowly, too. And I like the fact that this horse actually got involved with other horses and didn't kind of, shy away from there and still made a run late. So it figures it's Brad Cox. It's going to take money. I just went to Mega Mill on the outside, the second-time starter for John Service. Figured, it's going to be the speed of the speed I would hope in here today. We'll see if this horse can see out the extra distance. But with what's left in here with the other first-time starters, I was just going to give this horse a shot. I mean, this horse ran well, went to the top, kind of got challenged, ran with the winner for a while, and then the winner just kind of got away in mid-stretch from this horse. So with any kind of improvement and some speed, drawn outside, probably in front of these, I would think.
Yeah, it was bet that day, too, at Laurel, and yeah, no excuse. You got to love speed, especially with Kendrick towards the outside.
Yeah, so that's what we got for race number 1. Take a look at race number 2, second half of the double. You could take out the 4, Mama's Dream in here, and the 5 play. And I think the interesting thing with this race, though, Jonathan, is even though the 4 and the 5 came out, there's still a couple of horses in here that could mix it up on the front end.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's dirt racing in the winter, right? You're going to see a lot of horses with some early speed, and that's why I landed on the 6 towards the outside, hoping that this horse from that outside position, Kendrick Carmouche, has speed in the first 2 races, drawn towards the outside. He should be able to pop away from there. And I haven't been pleased with how Aaliyah has run the last few starts, including some of those turf ones. But if you dig a little bit deeper, 4 or 5 back, there's races in there that could absolutely make this one tough to beat in here.
Yeah, especially on the drop down in here. I kind of feel like with this horse though, they've tried already to kind of rate this horse, and it just didn't work out. It's more of a chase than a rate with this horse, and that's what kind of worried me because Musra's fast, and when Cam Duke's pretty good, he's also fast too. So I'm wondering where this horse is going to set up shop, and I'm just not sure if this horse doesn't make the top comfortably. If this horse is actually going to be able to finish the deal, and that's what worried me a little bit about this horse. I know that this horse has faced some better horses along the way, but I just felt like it was more of an ask to ask this horse to rate.
Yeah, and they might try to do something different with Mazzara as well too. And this horse has made the easy lead 2 times in a row, almost 3 times in a row, and every single time kind of spits it. So maybe they try to do something different. But I think with Kendrick being on the outside, being in the clear, I think that that's going to help quite a bit when he's trying to make some of those better decisions on where you want to go with this horse. Because if you look at some of the past times that Aaliyah has gotten beat when kind of being involved, she's been inside. She's been loose on the front end. She's been inside. She's been in the pocket. She's never really got this trip that she's projecting to get today. If someone goes in front of her, that kind of stalking outside.
Yeah, we'll see what she can do from there. I just kind of landed on the favorite in here, Better Go, Go, Go. And I just felt like even when the race was fully intact, there was a lot for this horse to actually close into. And I felt like this was a horse who's run fine the last couple of starts. Numbers have gone in the right direction. He's just been wide, too, in his last 2 starts, every step of the way for the most part. So gets to switch today to Dylan Davis, so that's a big rider upgrade. And we'll see what this horse can do in the spot. I'm not sure what replay we're showing there, but
we just wanted to see
playing Better Go, Go, Go. Okay, there
yeah,
we go.
yeah.
Play is out. But Better Go, Go, Go is going to play today. So this was going back a couple of starts for this horse, going back on April 19th when they ran against each other. So, but for me, I feel like Better Go, Go was just going to sit a good trip in here, just off of the speed, and we'll see if this horse can pick them up late.
Yeah, I have no problem there. I had the horse second. Like you said, these first couple of races are pretty thin, but sometimes these are fun pick 5s to play. I think when you can kind of throw a couple singles in the mix, a couple of 2-horse legs. I think you can get away with this one with just the 6 and the 1.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with this race. Fun little races for these small fields. And race number 3, maiden special weights going here. Scratch the 2, Wrightsville coming out of here. And you got a couple of horses who matched up last time out in Tomorrow's Wish, Letter Perfect, and Elvis himself. And I guess when you look at these horses, Elvis himself was able to get out in front, and I thought he ran better this time in the race that we're looking at. I kind of feel like he didn't really kind of care for being popped by Manny Franco Stick when you watch him, because Manny's strong. When Manny hits a horse kind of left-handed, so he kind of got out a little bit. But looking at this race, isn't he supposed to get the top again in here?
No, especially from that outside draw. I don't know who would. I guess there's a world in which the 3 or the 5, if aggressively sent, the 5 Letter Perfect adding blinkers. But no, I feel like from that outside draw with Manny, he's known to be aggressive. A horse who's run well, making the front end, has made the front 3 of his 4 lifetime races. I'd like to think Elvis himself will make the front. And he's done it. He's done it the right way too, with real pace figures, not just kind of like taking easy leads. So to me, if he doesn't make the front, I think it's a huge mistake, and a mistake I don't think Manny will make.
No, and I think the race will be completely wide open at that point. Tomorrow's Wish adds blinkers, but he hasn't really shown that much. But he showed it on the stretch out. He hasn't shown it sprinting. And Letter Perfect, blinkers go on here too for this horse. He kind of got a little bit high-headed and keen, I guess is the best word for him last time out. And then Ruben Silvera rushed him up into a spot, into that pocket. So we'll see what happens with the switch to Loscano today. He probably will run a little bit better, I would think, off of that trip and now going second off of the layoff. I landed on a long shot in here. I landed on the 3 Sounds Like Fun. Every start, this horse has gotten better from a figure standpoint. I thought last time out, he ran a good enough race against this group in here, and I know that he probably needed the start as well, and he sat 3 or 4 wide in there and kind of picked up a little bit. But honestly, though, if this horse didn't come from a lower percentage barn, this horse would be half of the price of what this horse would be today, considering the progression that this horse has made in the figure in the last start.
No, 100%. And in that race where he ran for 75, if he could show some of that speed as well. Now, I know that was on a muddy racetrack, so you don't really know what to expect. But yeah, you're right. He hadn't run since April. He came back November 30th, ran well, was wide all the way around there. Definitely projects to take another step forward. and you're likely to get a pretty good price too, because these other horses are going to take money.
Yeah, I would think he might even be probably the longest shot on the board. And a horse that we really don't have up there that I guess we should mention is the number 1 Cyber Attack, who's coming off of the layoff and coming up from Gulfstream Park going to dirt in here. It feels like this horse is eventually going to want to go longer, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, this is a toss for me. The horse was entered, ran first time on the synthetic, then was entered on April 6th to turf, going long and turf. This feels like a horse that wants longer and probably wants a surface that's not dirt.
We will see what happens in race number 3. Turning over to race number 4, a couple of scratches in here. You could take out the 5 Foolish Challenge, and you could also take out the 7 Alley Song. This kind of messed up a lot of my picks in here. I was actually on Foolish Challenge in here. I don't know if you had like Foolish Challenge in here.
I think I had Foolish Challenge second.
Oh, okay. So I gave a little look, and it kind of changed things up for me. You're going to land on the 2, Stormy Midnight.
Yeah, this is just a cutback move for me. When horses are going 7, cutting back to the 7.5, excuse me, the 6.5, especially when they show speed. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I think that little half furlong can make a little bit of a difference. And in some of these small fields that we've seen to start the day, I want horses that are going to be forward. I want horses that are going to do the running, not needing the running to happen for them, and that was Stormy Midnight. So, and I think Horatio DePaz also does an outstanding job too. So I always kind of upgrade mentally when I see one of his horses.
Yeah, and listen, obviously looked like this horse needed the last race for sure. And I don't really have an issue with this horse other than I felt like a couple of starts back this horse probably should have won. It's just kind of hard for me at this point, and I'm kind of like I think the least person here who kind of gets on riders and kind of gets on. It's just kind of hard to take this rider who just hasn't won yet here in New York and has been on some short price horses, as well. So I just want to see this horse seal the deal in here. I do have the horse 4th in here, and it got moved up for me. And as you mentioned, talking about horses that, project to kind of be forward in here, that's why I ended up ultimately landing on the 3, Follow Your Arrow in here. And, the blinkers went on, and not for anything. I mean, she showed speed versus better, when you take a look at the debut race that she ran too last year. And my biggest thing with this horse today is with Christopher Elliott is just get in front of the 2. If you could be a couple of lengths in front, like she was last time in a field like that, they tend to kind of braven up on you, and they tend to, especially in those lower level maiden races. So, this is the right spot for this horse. Pop out of the gate with some speed, and if she can get in front of the 2, she might be tough in here right back.
Yeah, I thought last time was a little dressed up, and because of that, she never really did any running before that, and she was, she kept running on the turf, and I assume because Chad thought she needed to be on the turf, she did no running on the turf. Finally gets loose at 10-1. I don't trust the performance. That's all.
Listen, it's a question whether or not she can repeat it and shortening up to the 6.5. But looking at this group, I mean, you have a little just the heart in second.
Yeah, I mean, that was just basically because I was running out of horses to pick. I would, in this situation, I would single the 2 and move on and multi-race bets. But, yeah, I mean, I thought the 1 was okay. I mean, I didn't really love the dirt race last time in a race that kind of fell apart. But there was at least some talent shown in some of those turf races. And in a race that doesn't have any killers in it, I thought the horse at least fit to a certain extent.
Yeah, I have the horse 3rd in here. I agree with you on your points there. And for me, I just think the 6 to LeGros got a much-needed drop. Blinkers coming off here. I know this horse likes to run second, but this was more of an underneath horse for me that I figured was going to be a little bit of a price of what's left. It's hard to tell now. Obviously, the 2 and the 3 are probably the horses that are going to take the lion's share of the money.
Yeah, when it comes to horses from Finger Lakes, if they fit on figures, I have no problem using them. But when I feel like they're a cut below on figures, then I'll do that snobby they're running in Finger Lakes deal.
Yeah, you just don't want the bag. I mean, this horse does have a couple of 60s prior
Yep.
down here. We'd have to refine the form, I think, but I just think this is a softer spot anyway with
sure.
what's left for sure in here. But we'll see how it plays out in race number 4. Turning to race number 5, we'll break after race number 5. It's a mile. It's a claiming event. $25,000 is the tag in here. And she's cool. Dropping in class for you on top.
Yeah, she's had a couple of trips, right? If you look at her last 2, she's been wide in both of those starts. She broke slowly last time. She probably moved a little early the time before that. I just think that we're going to get the best performance out of her and her numbers and her figures. If she runs back to her race 3 back, which I think she's capable of, if you believe the excuses that I laid out for her last 2 starts, I think she's going to be pretty tough to beat in here.
Yeah, I have a third in here in this spot, too. Last time out, she was kind of really tugging, too, at Jose Lezcano and kind of dragged, him up into the race, too. So it was one of those things, too. She got off a bit slow and I don't think she really appreciated also all the slop hitting her and everything, too. And it's like once you tipped her to the outside, she kind of took off and kind of put herself into the race. She can win in here. I mean, I have no real knocks against her. I'm going to use her, obviously, if I have her in here. I just taking a short price on her. Her figures are probably the best. We'll see what happens in here. I kind of got a little goofy in here by taking the number 6 Dusk. In this spot, I know you have this horse third, dropping in class here, coming in, off of the long layoff. And just looking at her dirt races, I feel like she's faced just much better horses than she's going to face in here. Solo Shot and Valentine's Gift and Call Her Bluff and better horses. And, we'll see what we get today off of the layoff. I know the mile race, she was on that pace for a while at Saratoga. Those Wilson Shoot races, they play a little bit differently for me. Sometimes I don't put as much stock in them, depending on the way that the pace sets up. But the sprint starts that she had to start her career on the dirt, I mean, she's got to get faster, but I don't think they were terrible efforts because at least they were against better horses, and she did show speed second time out.
Yeah, look, whenever I see horses that have at least shown some speed, you at least know there's some talent there. The other thing, too, is I thought the turf race last time was actually pretty good. Now, I know that was on the turf, but I think sometimes when I can see a horse who's just doing well, then that gives me a little bit more comfort that maybe some of those back dirt races that you're hoping for are within reach.
Yeah, and, for me, I just think when you look at the rest of the race and you kind of look at how the pace is going to play out in this race, I mean, do you think Magic 8 Ball is going to show a little bit of speed? Patty Van Winkle now puts blinkers on. And I feel like a horse like her, she was wide last time out. But, I mean, do you really trust her, going the mile distance in here?
Yeah, she just doesn't have a lot of early speed. I mean, I would think that Magic 8 Ball is probably more likely to try to take advantage with Kendrick and, you're drawn on the inside, putting the blinkers on. I think the rail, Kendrick, and the blinkers suggest that there's going to be a little bit more speed out of that one.
I would think she would be the one out of between the 1, 2, and the 3 that would kind of be up front. So, listen, Lady Arwen, too, kind of followed the winner last time out and got in the clear and just didn't win. I kind of feel like she's headed in the right direction, too. I know you have her in second in here. I have her a little bit lower. We'll see what we get out of her today. I just feel like she had a chance last time out.
Yeah, it was one of those deals. I just felt like there was going to be a little bit of value there. You get Manny. I thought last time she spent some time down on the inside and she came circling wide and it wasn't the best of trips. And she just seems to kind of be getting a little incrementally better as she goes along here. And I just thought she was an alternative to some of the other ones.
Yeah, my goofy horse in second is Saucy 6, who I know the best dirt figures came in the slop for this horse, but she was only about a length behind She's Cool last time that they met. So maybe she's a little bit closer in here with her as well. So I figured that was a little goofy horse to throw in to the exotics to see what happens.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with goofy. They pay you for goofy sometimes.
Yeah, right? Sometimes you're right.
Yeah.
So that's the first 5. We'll be back with the late pick 4 after a break.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
He's JK. I'm Paul, back on Talking Horses. And before we get to race number 6, I did want to pick your brain about something.
Yeah.
So we've been on break now. No racing for about 2 weeks now. What's the one thing you would look for the most in the early races? Are you looking for the way the track is playing? Or are you looking for the way some horses come back?
Yeah, well, so there's just a couple of answers. When it comes to the track, the way the track's playing, I've never been one who tries to capture bias on a day and play it.
Yeah.
Because so often the racetracks can change through the day and through moisture, and even some of the track, the track superintendents across the country, if there is an issue, they'll try to fix it. So sometimes you think, oh, the rail's good, and they fix it, and then it's not good anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't try to play within. What I try to do is I try to identify if there was a day and then see how they run back and have proof, and then play horses out of bias days. So I don't really get too caught up in that. I would say this, though, is that I would look for some fuller fields. I mean, I know that obviously today got scratched down pretty heavy, but I think over the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks, you're going to see some fuller fields. That, when you have those breaks, it allows things to kind of materialize, and I think maybe you can get some big improvements out of horses with that time off, with not being kind of jammed into a spot maybe 2 weeks ago, and now having some time to kind of freshen up a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about that actually going into the break a couple of times, how the condition book just doesn't work out sometimes as you get towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Some horses, and you're jamming them into spot, especially 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
You see a lot of 2-year-olds go straight from the maiden wins trying the Demoiselle and the Remsen and all these races because there's not a non-winner spot. So good point to be taken going forward, and hopefully we will get some good fields to go forward. We got one here in the 6th race too, I think. Starter allowance here. I know we lost Super Chief in here, and we also lost High Tide, but taking a look at this race, I have a horse on top in here in Mr. JT, and take a look at Mr. JT's last start. And I think with Mr. JT, it was more of a matter of he finally got the trip that he's looked for. He was able to save a little bit of ground, able to switch outside, and finally got that win, and he looked good doing it. Now he gets claimed by Bruce Levine. Bruce had him once before last year. I saw David Aragona point that out because it didn't even dawn on me. And he looked good, in this race. We'll see if he can do it with a step up in class and hopefully the same trip that he got.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets the same trip that he got, then that's going to be his best shot in here. I'm a starter allowance snob. I feel like in starter allowance races, there's typically a horse that has qualified for the condition when they were one animal, and then they have turned into a new animal, and they're sometimes the most reliable favorites. And that's how I felt about the outside horse with Commerce Comet. This horse qualified for the condition. He is a completely different horse than he was. He ran a stakes type number last time, and I trust that Rick Dutrow will keep that performance out of him. Rick Dutrow's 43% for the meet so far, and was 19% throughout the entire year. And when you're seeing the ball good like that, and you get a horse like this, a great claim that gets qualified for the starter allowance race, to me, it's just cashing checks at this point. I think he's going to be very tough to beat from the outside.
Yeah, we can show that replay. I know it's a lot of order, but we could show that replay. It's fine, guys. Listen, he ran huge, first off that claim too. And listen, that Natural Harbor was loose on the lead in there too. Brad Cox runner too, and came and ran him down. So when you take a look at that race too, the 3rd, the 5th, the last place finishers, they all came back and they significantly improved their figures last time out. Rick Dutcher's on a roll, and this horse is running well, and you brought up the point about being a totally different animal now. For me, and I have the horse 3rd in here, for me, it's more of a matter of now I just want to see it one more time with him.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's even one of those situations where 3-back.
Yeah, he
ran. 3-back
yeah,
makes him tough too. So, yeah, like I said, I am a starter allowance snob. When I find one, and here's the tough part about it is that he's in charge. Is also one of those horses that jumped up with a big number, but he'd been with Jamie Ness for a while, so that doesn't make me feel as warm and fuzzy. I don't trust that number nearly as much.
Yeah.
Like, what did he figure out all of a sudden that he didn't know the 4 starts before that? But it seems like Dutrow actually did turn the keys and figure something out with Commerce Comet.
Yeah, and in the Force case, he's in charge. He just takes money start after start after start, and the Light family came on last time and put up a big fig and a big number. And listen, we've seen Jamie's horses come here, and some have run well, and some just haven't, So we'll find out what we get from that horse. I split the difference between Mr. JT and Commerce Comet with the one Hatch in here, and I feel like Hatch, even though he's going to have to continue to get better again, but at least he's run well and held his form and outrun his odds on the class hike in the last 2 for sure. And Beaver State was a horse I liked from Bob Vales last time out that was just loaded and looked like a winner all the way around. And Hatch ended up running well to be 2nd in there. So I'm hoping I get another performance from Hatch that's going to be probably in the 8, 9, 10 to 1 range and throw him in underneath.
Yeah, one of the, I'd say I like when horses get claimed by sharp operations. Atris, Linda, Dutrow, you know what I mean? Like kept coming for this horse. I do think probably a little bit underwater, and when it comes to this class, the starter allowance races. I mean, like you said, he did run well in his last 2 starts, but those were also kind of the numbers earned were kind of like the low 80s for those. This one could be a 90s type.
This could push around a 90 too. So we'll see what we get from him. Anybody else you want to talk about in here before we?
Who do I have? 8, 4. I mean, I used my third horse is the 7.
Yeah.
That you already talked about.
All right. Take a look at race number 7. It's an allowance event in here for the fillies. We'll see what we get in here now. Winners of 1, and I guess the discussion starts with a horse like Point and Points going out, second time out for Brad Cox off the win down at Keeneland. So we can take a look at that race, and I thought it was a solid effort considering the trip that this that the horse ran last time out. Made that nice run, and then kind of shifted in a little bit. Also on command is coming out of this race. But what do you think of Points?
Yeah, I mean it's a very logical, very obvious horse. The one issue I have is that I have a hard time with first-time starters when they break slowly, get pace to close into, and come running and win, because it's very deceiving. I don't know how good he really is. Like the breaking slowly could have actually helped because the pace was honest enough.
Yeah.
He came running. Who's he running down? Is it good horses or bad horses? Got me a lot of trouble with Chance and Rick Patrick. I thought that race, his debut was bad, and it ended up being
turned
wrong.
out to be all right.
And so that's my issue here, why I didn't pick this horse on top. I mean, he could absolutely win. He probably will.
Yeah.
But it's at a short price. I didn't quite trust him.
Yeah, I like you have the horse at second in here, and we kind of flip-flopped what we thought of our picks in here. Let's talk about your horse that you have on top, All Class. We could take a look at All Class from the race at Keeneland on October 26th and talk a little bit about what you like about All Class.
Yeah, I mean, this horse showed some talent, right? I mean, has had some nice numbers, shown some nice pace figures, and now switches to a high percentage barn in Linda Rice. I like the inside for this horse too with that speed sometimes, and with Eric as well. Like I when Eric is confident in making decisions to go forward, he does a great job. I think sometimes when he gets into situations where there's some decisions that have to be made. I think that I can't remember the horse's name in Saratoga that he rode, but when he rides every horse like they're 1 to 9. That's the Eric I love.
That's the one you want,
When he and I think he'll ride this horse like that from the inside, aggressively, put him in the race, and I think he'll be tough to run down. And you should get a fair price too, because the 5 points to me is going to be a little overbet.
I would think they were at overbet this horse with Brad Cox and Manny Franco, just based on the effort last time too, getting slow, rolling home late as well. The other half of the entry, Save Us Melania, ran here the other day, so had a good trip, rated for the first time in a while, and I actually kind of in a way preferred that horse as opposed to the one in some ways, but you're going to get 2 for 1 anyway, no matter which one you like.
It's just a little multi-race insurance policy. I don't need the horse, but having a Jose Lescano ridden, Linda Rice trained a horse as a I was wrong, then there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and the horse that I landed on, who you have in third in here, full disclosure. I mean, I think by now I've done enough of these that people have seen me. I pick Lady Mine all the time. Like, I'm a fan. And this goes back to even last year when this horse got really good in various scenarios. I just need her to get over the gate issues, which she just can't do because sometimes she puts herself behind the 8 ball. Now, to be fair, last time out, I know she was kind of slow to get in stride. She kind of got to take it up a little bit, but as Maggie said, a few others have said as well, she kind of looked like she needed the last because she was carrying some excess weight and she was a little chunky monkey, and she should be a little bit better today. She was headed in the right direction before that layoff, and sans not being able to just run down a loose Sue Ellen Michigan, she would have been on a 5-race heater at that point. So, and she ran into Patricia Ann last time, who ran exceptionally well off the layoff, and the talent's always been there with a horse like Patricia Ann. So I'm hoping for a better trip, more fit, second time out, Lady Mine in here.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things here. One is the fact that she was that Maggie said she looked like a little chunky last time. Then maybe that is going to help her break a little bit better this time. The other thing too, if you look at her past performances, and this is no knock on Dylan or Trevor McCarthy or Jose Ortiz or Jamie Gomez, but none of them have a feature about getting out of the gate like Kendrick does. Yeah. So maybe Kendrick can kind of make a little bit of a difference. And I always love when Kendrick rides for 10 strike because their relationship from Parks and so maybe Kendrick will get her out of there.
I hope so. I mean, I think when you look at the pace standpoint in here, you're going to have a few horses that want to be out there or at least be a little bit forward in here. You know, you take a look at a horse like All Class, who did show some speed last time out, obviously, and we'll see what we get from Savas Melania and Sunday's Girl, and even the 4 in here flashed a little bit of speed last time. Actually, the 4 I thought ran a big race last time out, all things considered, with On Command. I mean, I feel like the horse got a little bit of a breather from Dylan, which helped, but at least the horse was forward and showed some speed and got a career best number.
Absolutely. I mean, this horse made the lead a few times, but maybe Dylan was the difference to get him home that time. Her home, excuse me.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what we get out of this field in here, and you know, there's even a horse on the outside like My Bronx Baby, who I think will probably show a little bit of speed as well. That adds to the pace in here. So I was just hoping for a good setup with Lady Mine, and I don't think Lady Mine is going to be that short of a number when you look at the entry and the 4 and the 5 in here. So I'm hoping for like 5-1.
And Kendrick we trust.
Yes, for sure. So, race number 8, Bay Ridge Stakes today on the card for the State Breds in here. And we did lose a couple of horses in this spot. We lost 5 Cali Magic, the 7 Sweet Brown Sugar, and the 8 Cruise to Catalina. Discussion starts in here with the favorite in here, the number 11 Sterling Silver. And we can take a look at Sterling Silver's race last time out in the Empire Distaff. And why do you like Sterling Silver today?
Well, I wanted Cruz to Catalina. I scratched in.
Okay.
So, which is fine. I like Cruz Catalina quite a bit. But, yeah, Sterling Silver is drawn well, is tactical, is battle tested, is everything you want. Everything you want in a horse, and she's drawn well. The mile's not going to be a problem. She's cutting back from the 9. She's run well at a mile before. She's run well at Aqueduct. She kind of checks all the boxes as you start working through it.
Yeah, listen, you know, can't blame her last time out too. She lost to one of my favorites, Venti Valentine, who's now done with her career. So sad to see her go. That was one of my favorites for sure. Horse to beat in here, no doubt about that. And listen, I don't think that the cutback in distance hurts. I was just kind of trying to be cute with a little bit of an alternative in here. But to me, Sterling Silver's way the horse to beat in this spot. For me, Stonewall Star was the horse that I just wanted to kind of take a look at and grab a piece of in here, hopefully today. I felt like this horse last time out just totally lost it at the break, and facing much better horses too in graded stakes competition. So you look at some of her races going back, and some of those figures certainly put her in play in here. I mean, at least, you know, she wouldn't have to get that much faster with an effort from the rail. And I think she's just better posted too now than some of her rivals, and she's going third off of a layoff, and I think she'll be more forward with a better break obviously today. Miles not a problem, and we'll see what we get out of her.
Yeah, no, I had her third, and you know, I kind of went with a horse that had a similar profile in terms of some turf racing in the 6 Silver Skillet. And this just was a funny one that actually, funny enough, this is a Silver Skillet is a like a little diner, breakfast diner.
Okay.
That Dean Reeves tried to get me to go to when I was in Atlanta. We were gonna go. I wanted to check it out. Dean, I didn't check it out, but I'm sure it's good. We'll go next time. The Liam's map has been, and Christoph's had success with Liam's maps, doing both things, running dirt and turf. Right, Deterministic was another one who handled both surfaces, and Silver Skillet looks to be another one of those too. And if you look back at those dirt races, there's some pretty good ones in there. And I just think I think she's pretty talented. And fair enough, in full disclosure, now that as I scratched into the 11, I would actually probably flip the 6 and the 11, and I would take the 6 Silver Skillet on top just because the price is going to be much better. There's no reason to change it, but those two for me make the most sense. And in multi-race wagers, I'd feel pretty comfortable with just having the 6 and the 11.
Does it scare you a little bit that Silver Skillet's best numbers came off tracks because they were off the turf races? She never really had an opportunity to she had a couple of dirt starts. You know, fast dirt starts early on. I mean, you would expect her to be forward in here, but does it bother you that it's more to wet track?
It's a concern, but I think you'll probably get a little drift. I think Sterling Silver will take quite a bit of money. So I think at the price, I'd be willing to pay to find out.
Okay. A couple of long shots that I wanted to talk about. The number 4 Golden Rocket. I know this horse looks slow on paper, but last time out actually got the perfect trip up the rail to win. I'm not sure what the pace setup's going to be for this horse today, but I would think she would need one of her bigger numbers to come along. But if the race does come apart, she's shown that she can close with the right trip to get a piece anyway. I would think a piece. I'm not saying that she's up there to win, but I'm talking about somebody to round out your tries in here.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's right in the mix. I mean, I think after the top 2 or 3, this is a wide open affair that if you want to try to get cute underneath, I definitely wouldn't talk anyone out of it. I think there's definitely worse ideas you could have. But yeah, Golden Rocket. I'm a huge Cantor Mossy fan as well. So I always kind of mentally, like I said, upgrade some of theirs. So yeah, I got no problem there.
We'll see what that horse does. And, in a horse that's a huge price, too, in Midtown Lights, got to get super, super much faster, but likes the mile. I think the numbers are going backwards. It was a much better horse earlier on this year. And, I mean, beyond that, I don't really – I think it was really down to, like, the 1s and the 11s for me, as far as the race setup, and a little bit of the 6 on the fringes with the 3 and the 4. As far as the race goes in the Bay Ridge. We will wrap it up today. Take a look at race number 9. Maiden optional claiming here for the tag of $50,000. And looking at this race, it's funny. I gave a long look for a while for the 1, but I couldn't resist going back to the horse that I picked on top last time that had worlds of trouble in the 4, Bernie Goes Boom. And we can take a look at the start for Bernie Goes Boom last time out. And for those who didn't see it, this is exactly why Bernie Goes Boom was declared a non-starter. When the gates opened, the assistant starter had his leg in front of the horse, and the horse got away pretty slow. But as the race went on, this horse actually had a chance to win the race, which ultimately would have been a shame at the end of the day because the horse would have been declared a non-starter anyway in that situation. And you'll see this horse come with a huge run to close on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to do those types of things to protect the bettors, and we're fine with that. But it is definitely, it would have been a shame if he would have won. I mean, I guess it probably was a shame for someone who had him the exacta. But I have no problem here. I guess the one thing is I said I'm a starter allowance snob. I'm also a maiden special weight, maiden claiming snob. If a horse showed any run in a maiden special weight race, or even if it's an auction race, I give them so much more credit, and I turn my nose up to maiden claimers that are trying a little bit tougher. But like I said, there's certain times where it's 8-1. It's acceptable to take that chance. So I'm not talking anybody off of this type of horse.
No, and I also feel like while this is going to be a step up in class for this horse, I also kind of feel like this horse will probably sit almost the same trip. I wonder if he didn't get the unfair start last time if he was going to show a little bit more speed, because this horse actually was the horse that was crying out to get a little bit more distance. So I think the 7 furlongs the mile is ultimately what this horse wants to do, gets the 7/8 today. I think this horse is going to be a good enough price to give this horse a shot, especially with the trouble that the horse had last time. So we'll see what kind of trip this horse could work out. I'll let you talk about the 1.
And he's improving as well. The 1 for me, it's just, look, I mean, it's hard to argue with the fact that in Rick Dutro's career, out of 445 starters, he's 19% with first-time starters. So he can get a young horse to run well, right? And he does well in these maiden types of situations. I don't always, when it comes to young horses, I'll give the first-time starter thing just kind of is more to me than just first-time starters. To me, it's how do you manage young horses. And I think that Dutrow can do that well. This horse is adding blinkers. He's been on fire. This horse has not shown a lot of speed, but I do believe that, just kind of that take back, make one run thing. Dylan's been making all the right moves. He's got 3 or 4 numbers that are better than anything in here has run in their entire life. And I didn't think any of the firsters were going to jump up. I thought this is one of those situations where you could kind of lean on the experienced, fastest horse.
Yeah, if he brings any of that form here, he's going to be tough in here. And I mean, I have him second in here, and I make no bones about it. And it's funny that you mentioned Dylan too, because I've said a few times on shows that it's the year of Dylan. Like every move you make, like we talk about how Flavien Prat made every move right, in every big race. It feels like Dylan has done that and just grown so exponentially like throughout this year, and is basically on his way to being leading rider in New York. Basically has it all but sewn up.
Career-changing year, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And when you look at this race, you have the 6 also in second here, run with honor, a second-time starter for Jeremiah Engelhardt.
Yeah, it took money on debut and showed speed. So that there's some talent there. It was a muddy racetrack, so you kind of question that. And the other thing too, I think these honor APs, I think they're going to get better as they get older, as they have more starts. So I'd look for this one to take another step forward. But it's the money on debut, the speed, and the heart this horse showed. And kind of in hooking that horse and not completely spinning it.
No, yeah, and it was pressed pretty much all the way around, which you'd like to see. As you said, you don't like to see it give it up. And really, the winner in that race got a good trip too, to get the win and pass those horses by. A little bit of a long shot look for me. It was the 11 past the soy sauce in here, going out for Tom Morley. Tom's horses usually get better with a start or two under their belt, and I feel like last time out too, this horse wasn't too far back early before kind of dropping back, and Sand Devil was a first-time starter and winner and looked really solid for Linda Rice in there. So I was thinking maybe with some improvement past the soy sauce with an outside draw would be a horse you could look at a bigger price in here.
Yeah, Tom, first-time starters, 6%, second-time starters, 12%. So he definitely does take a step forward.
And a little Bobby Bob in here, third for you and fourth for me.
Yeah, a little Bobby Bob. Just another one with experience. Broke slowly last time, and one I thought could take another step forward. More of an underneath type, but definitely one to keep in the mix.
Yeah, and Western Wolf kind of, got an easy lead in that race last time out, too. Was able to waltz around, too. So we'll see what we get today from the second-time starter for Jimmy Ryerson. And usually I pick Jimmy Ryerson horses on top, so maybe this will get the horse in the winner's circle. Sometimes I'm Jimmy's kryptonite with some, but I did have his horse before we went on the break that paid that $36.80 on top that Christopher Elliott rode.
There you go.
First trumpet. So that was pretty good. So I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I'm Jimmy's kryptonite anymore.
No. It's not you. It's
okay.
not you.
I just want to make sure. Jimmy's a nice guy, so I'm only kidding. JK, thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Always a lot of fun. And before we go, lots to talk about as we get back into action here. Remember, you can head on over to Naira Bets. We do have the bonus $200 deposit match sign-up bonus for you. Use the promo code bonus200. Flavian Pratt will smile for you doing that. He's doing a lot of smiling for himself as he comes to the end of the year. Eclipse Award-winning jockey, we all assume at this point.
Yeah,
I think that's a safe assumption. Otherwise, it'll be like the Graded Stakes Committee, which I won't talk about. But while you're over at Naira Bets, you can also take a look at track stats. Matthew says this does a great job. Take a look at things over there with all the Naira Bets content. You can bet smarter, win bigger, and all the action over there. You get your statistics, betting insights, and all the track trends you can need over at NairaBets.com. Free money also. This is something you definitely want to get involved in. $3,000 hit and split. We're talking about the late pick 3 at Aqueduct and or the Oaklawn Park late pick 3. You hit that, and you could split a pot of $3,000. Free money is never a bad thing, especially with a bet like a pick 3. And we also have cross-country pick 5, which kicks off today, 3:05 Eastern. We got races 7 and 8 here from Aqueduct, so your Bay Ridge Stakes is covered in that. Over at Oaklawn Park, races 5, 6, and 7 for that. And we will have all of the action from Aqueduct, races 7, 8, and 9, I believe, from here when we get started, and also action from Oaklawn Park and America's Day at the races. Coverage kicks off 3 p.m. FS2. Lafitte and JK at the desk, and Mig will be reporting. Paul LaDuca is out at Oaklawn Park. So we got the old guy crew.
Yeah, it's not nearly that much better show when we have Maggie and Acacia around, and Sarah as well. But we'll do what we can do.
That's right. Listen, if I'm sitting in the host chair, you know it's getting to the end of the year. I'm usually sitting in your spot. So
I wonder where Andy is. What do you think Andy is?
Yeah, I think Andy will be back on right after New Year's.
Okay.
Friday he'll be back. He was out there tweeting about Santa Anita yesterday and some of the plays out there and some other picks and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to a great day of racing. Good luck, safe trips for all our riders and horses, and have a great day.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.